Alrighty. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, magical ones. Welcome to the Fairy Stitch vlog. I'm Fairy Flower Cat, and this is my very first live episode. If you haven't noticed already, and I'm trying to make sure everything is on as I am. I've done a practice video before, and I know the lighting is bad. Let me. Sorry. Let me see if I can adjust. All right. Okay, I'm learning as I go, as you can tell. There we go. Better, I hope. I hope. Trying to adjust the lighting so it's not so bright. Okay. Alrighty, well, this is my first episode, as you can tell. And so hopefully you can hear me. If anybody jumps on, please let me know that you're hearing me. It looks like it's working, so I hope it is. Anyway, so today, today I wanted to do an episode and kind of have a chance to maybe answer any pertinent, relevant questions that some of you may have in regards to fairy craft magic. For those of you who don't know me, or maybe it's the first time you're checking out the channel, I am a certified fairyologist. I'm a certified cat trainer, certified dog trainer. I am a fairy craft magic practitioner, fairy witch, if you want to use that term. And so today we're going to focus a little bit on, we're going to focus on the fairy craft magic practice. So again, if you have questions, feel free. Please, I do have a few guidelines. Please be kind to me and to each other, anybody else who gets on, and ask a relevant question, of course, about the subject matter only. No political statements, please. Let's not get off subject or off topic. I'd appreciate it. And I'm sure anybody else who might be watching would definitely want to stick to subject. So please, let's do that. So today if anybody comes on, I'm just gonna kind of go through some of my notes, and I thought I would just talk about a little bit of different subjects. So we'll just I'll just cover a couple different things, and we'll just keep going until my time runs out. And again, this one might just be a short podcast episode. Then again, it might be a little more involved depending on what kind of questions I might be getting. So, okay, so first of all, you might be wondering, what is fairy craft magic? Well, it's a practice, it's a lifestyle, it's a way to connect to the fairies, it's a way to connect to nature. It's about positivity, it's about empowerment, it's about um, including anybody and everybody who really wants to know about the subject, who really wants to work with the fairies, who are looking to, be more connected to that, and also um, a way to make yourself feel better. It's about promoting happiness and goodness without harming others. It's also about protection. It's about not just yourself, but your friends, your family, nature, animals. It's about preserving the earth. It's about preserving our homeland, our country, our civilization. It's all that kind of encompassed. And there is an argument that it could be considered more of a religion. I don't. I look at it as I say, it's a lifestyle. It is a way um, to just feel better about yourself and to kind of send that vibe out to other people. It's about paying it forward, passing it on, but it's good stuff. But then again, it also can be used for, again, banishing issues, maybe dangerous people in your life. It's about banishing negativity. It's about letting go of past issues so that you can move on, so that you can have a more fruitful, meaningful existence and better life. It's definitely about working with the fairies, and so that is kind of like the premise of it. Now, you could say that fairy craft magics it kind of encompasses different magical lifestyles and practices. So there is some witchcraft in there. There is some Wicca in there. There is some New Age stuff, and there's you know, animal symbols. It encompasses a lot of different things, and you put it all together, and you put it under the umbrella of being with the fairies. And so that is how you work with it. You know, that's the whole idea of it. So, all right. So first of all, different things. Like I said, I'm just going to jump from little subject and just cover a little bit at a time. So until if I get any questions, you know, if I get anybody viewing right now, then of course I'll be glad to answer what I can. But let's just cover a couple different things here. So first of all, let's talk about feathers. Well, I'm just gonna cover different things. So feathers, you know, from birds, are potent symbols. They are talismans. They represent the element of air. Um, they can be used in your rituals. They can be used as symbols to bring, you know, to connect to that element when you're calling, you know, the four quarters. They can it represents freedom. It represents, I believe it's like, you know, being up and out and being bold and that kind of thing. And so you can use a feather to wipe down your offering table. It can be, and I have an offering table behind me. This one is more of my meditation table. So it shows you a few things that I've got there. I'll talk about that in a minute. But feathers are kind of like, they work with the elements of the air, and they represent the bird. And different bird feathers represent different things. So, like an eagle feather might be for independence. You know, it would be courage. You know, the owl feather would be more for wisdom and intuition. Um, I think there are so many different ones. Again, if you're interested in learning about animal symbolism, there are some very good magic books on that subject. So feel free to pick one up and check that out. But again, yeah, so the animals and the feathers, they represent different things that you may want to use in your practice. So research the animal, research the bird. Now, if you decide you want to use an actual bird feather, that's fine, but do not harm any birds, please. Do not go out, and even if you have a pet bird, don't pluck one off of them. Don't hurt your animal, or don't hurt any animal to get any tool or any symbol that you want. You can purchase them. Or if you're lucky enough to live out in an area where you can do a nature walk and you come across a feather, then great, you can do it. Just be sure to thank the universe and the animal. You know, just give her a little thank you. You know, look up and give a little thank you and take that feather home. But do not harm any animals, please. Don't harm anything. No animals, no plants, trees, flowers, nothing like that. Harm each other. Don't do any of that. You know, the idea is happiness, protection, safety, as I said. Okay, so So that is kind of what you might want to do. You could use the feather to wipe down your table, which is a way of cleansing. It's sweeping out any negativity or any bad vibes that might be attached or sitting on your supplies or your tools. And since I'm talking about that, I might as well go ahead and talk about an offering table. Now, again, like I say, this one is situated to be more like a meditation table. So I have my fairy pot here that holds my incense sticks when I want to burn them. I've got my little painting there that I made that shows the chakras of the fairy being, and it's a reminder. And he's also kind of in that meditative pose, you know. I've got a couple of candles on there. One candle, I've got a poppet. I do have a little fairy statue, but I think she's tucked away behind the poppet here. And I've got some river rocks and a little bit of flowers. And at the bottom here, I've got my meditative kitty, my little meditation kitty going like this. And I hope you can see him. He's right here. And then I've got some crystals lined up all around in front of him to represent the chakra as well as the different things. So I've got an amethyst and clear crystal. There's a jade. There's a red jasper, and I think there's a moonstone, tiger eye. You know, these all just kind of lined up around it, and then I can use them during my meditation. And so with my meditation, that's usually when I will do like I'll have like a musical background or something just to kind of sit there and relax. And I'll light the incense, light the candle, and just sit there in front of the table and just try to mellow out and try to block everything out and just focus on meditating and connecting. And it's relaxing too if you can do it. It's difficult. You would think it would be so easy. Meditation is not easy, at least for me. The brain wants to keep going. The brain wants to keep thinking. It's like just try to wipe everything out and see nothing but black, and just focus and just chill. That's harder than you think. So again, doing this lifestyle, it's work. You don't you don't wave a wand like the movies make it look. You don't wave your wand, even though you may have a wand, and I do. But when you don't wave your wand and go poof, my problem is gone, or my solution is here, or that money is sitting there, or that man is no longer in my life, or this is not. It doesn't work that way. Magic, magical practice is more subtle. It's more work. It's more inspiring. It works with creativity. It's channeling your own energy and manipulating your energy and the magic to kind of steer yourself, steer your life in the direction you want to go. Now, as long as you make realistic goals, as long as you make realistic wishes and work toward it and do the spells and follow through and stay open to things and you know keep working at it, you eventually will get what you want. It's not going to happen overnight, most likely. I'll say that because you never know. But again, you wave the wand and it appears in front of you. No. But let's say a realistic goal, which is something I have to deal with frequently, almost daily anymore, is I need help with something. Let's say a bill is due and I honestly don't have the money to pay it, and they're going to shut off the utility, whatever it is. I, will do a spell quickly, but I have to focus. That's the thing about intention and really focusing. Even if you only give it 5 minutes, as long as you are in the zone, you are focused, you are in the zone, and you're really channeling your energy, your mental capacity, everything is in line, you're really doing it. If you really focus for that 5 minutes, it's going to be much more potent than if you sat there for 20 minutes and you did a spell, but you were thinking of other things. It's like, I gotta get the laundry done. I gotta go feed the cat. I really should go run to the store, or it's like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna pay this? And you're stressing out and you're thinking about the problem instead of thinking about the solution or the way to the solution. You're kind of sabotaging yourself. So as long as you can focus on that full 5 minutes and really give it your all, that'll be much more important and much more potent than if you spent a long time. And I'm talking more from a solitary practitioner, which means you are on your own. You're not in a group, you're not hanging out with anybody, you're not in a coven. You are on your own and you're doing this we call solitaries. Now that sounds kind of alienating and maybe, it really isn't meant to be. It's not meant to be negative in any way. It's just some people either don't have access to a good group to be with, or they don't feel comfortable being in a group. They'd rather do it on their own. Either way is fine. And then maybe you've got some who are solitaries, but they might get together with a group later on, once in a while. That's cool too. You don't have to be stuck in a box and follow a list of rules in order to be a fairy craft magic practitioner. You just need to understand, respect, focus, send in good vibes so you get the good vibes back, and it doesn't matter if you're in a group or solitary. Now, if you'd rather be in a group, you can, of course. Um, Groups for any kind of magical practice. There are red flags. There are things to look out for, whether you're being the one searching out the group or you're in the group or head of the group looking to bring people in. There's red flags for either circumstance. I won't get into all of those, but from let's say, a single person or a solitary practitioner looking to be in a group, some things you need to be aware of when you approach a coven or group of practitioners is you need to understand that group. You need to research them. A lot of groups are more out there now. They're not as hidden, they're not as quiet. So you can find a Facebook page or you could find in a website or you can find a listing on Discord or one of those others, and you need to talk to them. You need to learn about them, find out, is this group what I want to work with? Are there, what are rules? Do they have hierarchies? Are they more inclusive to anybody? Do they have restrictions on age, which they should? Do they have requirements? Do they have, um, what's their motto? What's their life purpose? What's the group purpose? What do they promote? And listen to your own intuition. Listen to your own vibes you're picking up, because you can pick it up on people. If the more you talk to them or even just read what they're saying, if you don't like it or if there's something's going on in here that's saying to you, this sounds weird or this sounds strange, or you're like, why are they asking me that? Or why didn't they ask me that? That kind of thing. Anything at all. If you pick up on something, trust the intuition. Okay. Your gut's telling you something isn't right. All right. So then you need to back off and get away from that group. Don't get involved any further. Don't look into it. Move on to a next one. Okay. Now, let's say you do this over and over and you just haven't found the group you want. There is an option if you feel that you can handle it, because it's going to take work. It takes organization. It takes being comfortable in reaching out to people. You've got to be able to, handle all the internet stuff and all the messages in case you get any. You could start your own practice group. Okay. You can start your own magical group. Just kind of research other people, how they've started their groups to give you an idea of what would be, what's legal, what's proper, what kind of people you want to attract into your group, that kind of thing. And you need to have, kind of rules, and you need to think about, you know, religious ideas, you need to think about laws, you need to think about um, social, you know, acceptances, this kind of thing. So another thing too is that the group, whether you are starting one or trying to enter one, they should be asking you some things. And just to give you a couple of ideas, there is more, but just a couple of things, is they should ask you your age. They may even want proof of your age, which is good. That means they're not going to accept minors and children into their group. That's good. They should. And then they may ask you, about your life. They may ask you about what you're looking for in the group, what you want to get out of it, why you want to be in their coven. They should be interested in you. But if you feel that they're being too intrusive, if you feel that they are being way too personal, way too quickly, and it feels more invasive instead of informative, back out, get out, just walk away from it. Um, Now, if you're part of a group or a coven and you're looking for people, again, these are things you're going to want to ask them. You need to know what kind of person you are attracting into the group, and you decide, do they get accepted in or don't they? Do they want to have initiations? Do you want to have people mentor the others to join them? This kind of thing. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to think of, especially if you're going to be organizing a coven, as I said. Okay, so I'll move on to something else. Again, I just want to touch up on a few different things at once. And again, I want to keep this first episode short, and we don't have any messages at the moment. So I'm just going to keep covering. Let's see, what else? We can talk about really quickly. Tools. Do you need tools to have a magical practice? You don't. Do you want to have tools? That's up to you. You want fancy and you want all sorts of stuff and a big variety? Or do you want to just make your own? Do you want to just find them from nature? Do you want to just get a few things and then you build it gradually? All that's acceptable, all that's fine. You have to deal with what you can afford to do. And keep in mind that the practitioners of centuries ago, a lot of times, they didn't have access to the tools and the sources that we do today. They didn't know what an online store was back in the centuries. If they wanted tools, they had to make them. They'd go out in nature. They'd either find them and then adjust them. You want a wand, you go out to a sacred tree and you would find one on the ground, take it home. You might whittle it and change the shape a little. You might, if you were woodworking, you could, modify it and clean it and add stuff to it and carve in on it, sigils and things like that. If they wanted to do water magic, they went out to a lake or a pond. I mean, the idea is you don't have to purchase. You can take things from nature as long as you don't harm or hurt anything, and you bring them home and you add your intention to it. You can change them a little bit and adapt them. Now, if you have the money and you have the means and you want to purchase and you don't want to have any of the, anybody else's, nobody else has used it, nobody else has touched it, it's mine, it starts out with me, that's fine too if you can afford that. And I do that when I can. That's rare, but because I just don't have the funds. But you got to make do with what you've got. You got to make do with what you can get. Now, let's say you are completely broke. There's no way you can purchase anything at this point, or very little. That you can only do a few things at a time. What would be essential to get you started? A white candle, clear crystal, and I would say water, and you can get some herbs. Now the herbs you can get from a grocery store. They've already got, you can buy them fresh and dry them out and work with them on your own, or you can buy them in, the containers, the jars. They're already ground up. They're already, done and ready to go. So again, you can use any of that. And then you can build up your supplies as you can and as you want to or can afford to. So, again, you just need some basic things. And again, you can go out in nature. You can go out in nature and you could find a lovely stick that gets your attention. There's your wand. You find a stone or a crystal or a rock of some sort out in nature that just it fascinates you. You know, if you're on the beach and you found a seashell that really speaks to you, or if you find a sand dollar, or maybe you're in the desert and you find, um, a pond stone or something. If there were any, that kind of thing. Then there's your crystal. There's your stone. That gets you started, and then you've got your herbs, that you can purchase from the store. So there's a start. If you go out to a garden, or if you have your own garden, which I recommend doing, you've got your own flowers. You can grow your own herbs, that kind of thing. You can be totally self-sufficient, or you can purchase everything that you need, or you just do it little by little. Okay, so that gets you some ideas on some tools. Other things I would say too that you should have is a journal. And my other journals, I've got a few. So you can use a diary journal. You could use a composition book. You can use a notebook. Um, you can make your own diary, make your own journal. I do recommend journals and or a diary. And if you could buy a sketchbook and any size that you want. And I like the sketchbooks because being an artist, I've been an artist for over 20 years. So being an artist, I often like to sketch and draw and do collage pages and that kind of thing. And so when I use a sketchbook, that's easier because then you don't have any lines or anything like that. So I can do the drawings, or I can just do writing like a journal entry. So for my fairy journals, I always do a combination of things. There might be a journal entry, there might be, like, I could be watching a podcast episode and I'm taking notes. It could be I'm reading a really good book and I'm taking notes, just like we used to do in school. You write down your notes and key facts that you want to hang on to. Write your own poetry, write your own meditations, write your own spells into it. Or if you find somebody else has used one and you want to adapt it and use it, write it in and work on it. That kind of thing. So sketchbooks are great as journals, but if you want to use a regular diary or journal, that's good too. You can do artwork in that as well. It's just oftentimes they have lines. So if you want to do artwork, you might not want the lines, so you'd have to use heavier materials like paint or paper or something like that to cover it up. But yeah, I do that too. My one diary, I do the artwork. But the fairy journal, where I focus just on my fairy studies and my fairyology, that's usually the blank sketchbooks. But there's an option. But I do recommend strongly that you get a journal or a diary and start doing all of that information. And it's a great thing for kids too, because if you want to introduce the children to fairies and learning about the fae, and because fairies are not Tinkerbell. Tinkerbell is a creation. It's a cute creation, and I like her, and I like the movies, and I'm a fan of Disney. But Tinkerbell is not the typical fairy. Okay, she's her whole mentality, her whole thing is the image and all that stuff is kind of from the Victorian era, the 19th century. And then, of course, the Victorians are responsible for all of our current thoughts about fairies, how they act, how they should look, how they should be represented in art and literature, this kind of thing. And we still think of them that way because of the Victorians. And a lot of fairies don't have wings. The Victorians are the ones who said, yes, they do, because it's a theater thing. It was all about the theater. When they started doing Peter Pan and fairy stories and Midsummer Night's Dream and all that stuff, they needed the character to be represented on stage for the audience, and they're the ones who attached the wings to the costumes so that the audience members would know right away, oh, that's the fairy. Okay, they're the ones who are responsible for all this. But anyway, Tinkerbell is not the typical idea of a fairy. Fairies generally do not have wings. They can be malignant, maleficent. They can be mean. They can be self-centered. They can be, totally uninterested in anything. You've got the good and the bad. So the children need to be introduced to the idea of the fairies. They can still enjoy Tinkerbell and the cute fairies. Believe me, I'm not trying to tell you not to. Fairy tales are important. They tell a story. They are relevant. So yes, those beings need to be represented too, but they shouldn't be the only representative of the Fae that the children are being exposed to. So again, if you do a diary or a journal or something, my mother did, it wasn't for fairy stuff, it was just keep a journal. She taught me when I was like 7 or 8 to start keeping a journal. And I've been doing it all my life. I'm a lot older now. I still do it, as I said. So it's a great project to introduce children to the Fae, but as long as realistically, and then, they can draw in it and they can write in it and they can, come up with their own little stories and their poetry and all this there. And you as your parent, can interact with them, and you could tell them little stories and things and actually write an entry into the journal so they can read it later. I mean, you can go crazy with this story, and then too, you can work on pictures, and you could do collage work and all this other, and it's really fun. And it's a way to get them interested. And plus too, I mean, that's they're keeping a journal about magic and fairies, so again, you can teach them, let's bake some cupcakes. I'm going to show you how to bake some strawberry cupcakes, or let's do blueberry muffins, or let's do a fairy cake. Let's make a fairy cake. And they could write their journal entry of the recipe and how to do it and what to do, so they'll have it later. Those kinds of. So there's some kitchen fairy witchery right there. Garden magic. You want to introduce them to garden magic, which would be great for kids and for the fairies and with animals. So you take them out to the garden, or go to an arboretum, go to somebody else's garden, go out to a park, and you take the journal with you, and you can say, okay, what do you see? What plants are you looking at? And you can tell them, okay, oh, that's a sunflower. Okay, this is a sunflower, and sunflowers are, they can keep their notes, write their notes in, that kind of thing. If you're trying to teach them how to make their own garden, grow their own herbs or their own flowers, great. Then they can keep it in the journal, write down your directions, how to do it, what they thought of when they were doing it. Did they like it? Was it fun? Did they want to do more? Work on a fairy village, do a fairy garden, you get my idea. There's a lot you can do, and it really introduces the kids to the fairies in a good way, while you're still showing the cute side and the more realistic side. And plus, you're working on artwork. You are doing literature, so you're doing the writing, which is magic as well. Writing a poem, writing a story, even just writing notes or writing a spell is spell work. So again, that's working that way. You're teaching them recipe, they're learning to cook something or bake something, but it's an entry for their journal as well, and connecting to fairy magic. So I think you get my idea, and you can see how it all can kind of encompass everything at once. And it's amazing. It's fun. Okay, so I'm keeping an eye on the time, and it doesn't look like anybody's jumped on, but we're gonna just couple other things. Herbs, of course, different herbs represent different things. So let's see. Cinnamon is good for protection, prosperity, happiness, feeling good. Cloves, basil, they're good for prosperity and money spells usually. Rosemary is good for protection. Lavender is good for sleep and relaxation and tranquility, peace. Uh, there was another one and I forgot what it was, but no, that's not it. Anyway, so okay, so in different flowers represent different things. Now, sunflowers are my favorite. So sunflowers for me represent creativity. They represent the sun. So you got sun magic. They represent happiness. They represent health. Um, I know there's a, but other ones, bluebells. Bluebells are representative of fairies. Bluebells and fairies are connected. But in some places, in some countries, picking bluebells out of nature is illegal. Some of them are very protected. There's the no, sorry. There's the bluebells that look blue, almost purple. And there are such things as white bluebells. They're pretty white. The white one is said, as far as with fables and folklore, it said if you come across a white bluebell amongst the blue ones, it represents, I believe it represents that someone has been taken into fairyland and can't get out. Um, yeah. There's a lot of folklore about fairies, and not all of it's good. Again, that's the more realistic side of it. So it's good to know all of it. It's good to know all sides. It's good to know um, the good and the bad. So that way you get the whole thing. You're not just getting half of the story. Okay. There's some really great authors out there who write about the fairies in a realistic way. And one I can think of is, I'm a fan of her, so this is not a sponsor promotion or anything like that. It's just I'm a fan of her, and it's Morgan Daimler. And she has a YouTube channel here as well, but she's written lots of books for Pagan Portals publishing, and she's very knowledgeable about folklore, especially for Irish and Scottish folklore. But she's kind of an authority. She knows what she's talking about, and I would recommend her to you as a very good source for any folklore information about fairies and fae that you're interested in. Um, Gosh, there's so many other books that I have read by different authors who are really good. It's like I didn't write them down. I know I have some of them, but they're not in front of me. But yes, there are several other good ones. And as far as about Faery Craft Magick, there are some good ones out there. If you're interested in certain kinds of magic, like garden plant magic, I mean, every aspect of magic you can think of: kitchen, sun, moon, water, earth, herbs, flowers, spiritual, meditation. Um, I think I said animals already. There are books out there on each one of those subjects. So you can go crazy buying a bunch of them. So, and it can get overwhelming too. If you're just starting out, or if you're just coming back to the practice after being away from it for a while and you don't have your sources anymore, it's overwhelming, all the stuff that's out there. And believe me, not all of it is relevant, not all of it is good, but there is a lot of it that is. You just need to research the author, make sure that they are reputable and knowledgeable, and that they're talking, about subjects they really do know about. It's not just an AI thing pumping out a book to make some money for some publisher somewhere. You want to make sure it's really real, and that they're they know what they're talking about. Um, And keep in mind too that novels, even though fairy novels are great and children's books about fairies are great, and I'm glad there's a lot of them out there, keep in mind that some authors actually will reference those books in theirs because they think that's relevant enough and they think that's all they need to mention. But if they're quoting or using a novel as a reference for their book, whether it be supposedly an research book or it's a novel of their own. Keep in mind those novels are not usually based on the real folklore, the real fairies, the real stories. It is made up, or they will take a figure like Queen Mab and they will change her for their book. Another one that gets messed with a lot is Morgan Le Fay. Now, she's from the King Arthur folklore and stories, and they will take her actual character, her personality, and they'll adapt it for themselves. Then the new readers reading that book go, oh, so she was a bad type. She did this, she did that. When maybe all of that is not based on the real folklore, it's based on somebody else's novel. So, again, it can be overwhelming, is my point. So pick a subject. So let's say garden magic is something you want to try. Focus on garden magic, then research authors that really do know what they're doing. They're from reputable publishers, and either borrow them from the library, or you can do like a cloud library. I believe there's a system. Or if you can purchase one from a secondhand store, or if you've got the money to buy a brand new one, great, you're lucky you. So go ahead and get that and focus on that for a while. You learn it, you take your notes in your journals or your diary, and you learn about it. You start practicing it, start working with it. And then let's say, okay, I got a pretty good foundation for the garden magic. Now I want to work with animals. Okay, then do the same thing. Research it, find a good book, find a good reference, read it up, take your notes from it, and then start working with your animals. Now, since I've branched into that and I'm keeping on my time, so when you're talking about animals, then again, animal magic is powerful. Animal magic is great. Animal magic is something that we can use for our benefit, to make our spells stronger, to make ourselves stronger, to protect ourselves, protect other people. It's a way to connect to an animal that you've had that passed away, that kind of thing. So working with animals is definitely important, and it definitely enriches your practice as well. So you can use like a little. I don't think I have. Like I said, I have my kitty statue, which I don't know if you can see him. He's right here. Really focus on the screen, and he's my little. But you can use a stuffed toy. Stuffed toy can be your representative. It can be your puppet. We'll talk about puppets really quickly. But it can be your puppet. So let's say I want to channel the spirit of a tiger because I'm doing a protection spell and I want to protect myself. I want to defend my home. I want to be stronger. I want to be smart about it. And I want to, stay safe and feel I'm in control. So I would channel a tiger spirit. And when I'm doing my candle spell, doing the ritual, then I need a representation of it. Now, you can use just a photograph. You could use it off your phone. You could do an artwork of it and draw a picture or paint a picture, and you leave it on your offering table when you're going to use it. Or you can use a stuffed toy, a little statue, a little toy figurine, whatever. But you need to have the animal that you want, and each animal means something different, represents something different. So you want to pick the animal that you want to infuse the spirit with and get into help you with your spell. So again, research your animals. Now, let's say you've researched an animal, and let's say the book says, okay, the owl represents wisdom, knowledge, courage, energy, freedom, and you're like, cool, okay, that's what I want to channel in my spell. But let's say you just don't like an owl. Let's say the owl does nothing for you. You don't feel any personal connection to it. You're kind of like, this does, I don't like owls. I don't like the way they look at me. I just, you're kind of like, I really don't want to work with this animal. But let's say that you like the blue jay. Let's say the blue jay is just a bird you feel connected to. You really like the blue jay, you like its coloring, you think that it's cute. Let's say you used to raise them, or maybe you feed them out in your garden all the time. You feel this connection to the blue jay. And blue jays have courage. Blue jays used to terrorize our dog years ago. They'd swoop down on him and try to peck him, and they weren't afraid of him at all. And this was a big terrier, and they're just a little blue jay. They would do that all the time. Anyway, yeah, so blue jays have courage and they're beautiful. They could be bullies, but they definitely have courage. So, again, let's say you feel the blue jay is your connecting bird. That's the one you feel a connection with. And you really feel that even though the book says use the owl for your ritual or your spell, you go, you know what? I'm going to use the blue jay instead because I just feel connected. I've got that personal, ribbon, that personal thought process to them. That's the bird that's going to work for you. Okay, use it. If you feel that strongly about it, you really feel that that's going to work better for you than the owl, then do it. Okay, the books are guidelines. All of your information I'm giving you is guidelines, and you can adapt them, adjust them, tweak them. You can add to them. You can say, well, I don't really want to do that. I want to try this instead. Great. If you can personalize it, then that is what's going to help you and your spells even better, because personalization is key. Personalization is making that magic even more important to you. It's more fun for you. It's more creative for you. And again, if you like doing it, you enjoy doing it, it brings you happiness, it brings you good luck, and you feel you're getting more out of it because it is personal. That's the key. Okay, so you need to do that. So keep in mind, any sources you use or refer to or listen to, we're giving you guidelines, but you can adapt them as you need to, as you want to, and personalize it. Now, I mentioned poppets really quickly, so I'm going to show you this little guy. I do knit. I knit poppets. I do make some sewing ones, fabric ones, but I knit little poppets. I mint these, and then I have bigger ones, the bigger dolls. I make fairy dolls, and now I do witch dolls, and then I do some standard poppets just like these that are undecorated and just plain, and I sell them when I can. And they're about 15 inches tall, 13 to 15 inches tall. And so I make these little guys. And so you can too. You can crochet them, knit them. You can use paper. You can do clay. You can do anything that you can mold it into a shape and decorate it up. And you can, put stuff in them if you want to. Sometimes for the knitted ones, I'll add a little pocket on the top. That way I can go ahead and stitch them closed, but I can put them in my little herbs and crystals in the pocket. And that way I can change them out as I want to. Or you recharge them. You have to recharge your items now and then, so that it keeps the magic strong, it keeps the magic potent, and you dispel any old vibes and all the other stale energy and that kind of thing. So yeah, I make these, but you can use a stuffed toy, you can use a rag doll, you can make them, you can buy them, you could buy or use a thrift. My cat's in the back. What are you doing? Get out of there. She's bouncing around. So sorry, it's live. What can I say? So, you can make little poppets, and that way you can use them as a tool to add. And like I say, you can use fashion dolls, whatever. you know, as long as it's something that you can draw and cut out or seam together, stitch together, glue together, decorate. And again, even if it's just paper, you just cut it out, do the paper gingerbread man kind of cut, if nothing else, you know, and that way you have a little puppet doll. What are you doing, Charcoal? Are you excited about puppets too? Come here. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Come here. Yeah. And my kitty right here. Yeah, say hello. Say hello. Yeah. I think she wants to be let out of the room. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, working with puppets is a great tool because it adds to the practice, it adds to the magic. And again, it's something that you can work with herbs and the flowers, and you can use your crystals on. And so, yeah, whoops, this way. So again, poppets are a great little tool to add. And magical dolls are very potent. They've been used for centuries. And there's a lot of negativity related to magical dolls. And so again, you need to really research it. And there's a lot out there. But I mean, there are the haunted dolls, there are the shelf dolls, there are the like I say, poppet dolls, there are voodoo dolls. Each one is a little different. And keep in mind that magical dolls have got a bad rep thanks to Hollywood because it's fascinating. It gets your attention. It's like, this childhood sweet thing that probably most children in their lives and through the centuries have had at least one at one time in their lives. This, represents cute, happy, nostalgia, childhood, better days most of the time. Okay. But Hollywood grabbed onto that toy idea years ago. I don't know when exactly, and they changed it. They stuck the pins in them, and so every time the pin went into the doll, the character in the movie or the TV show either became sick, they were dead, then something else happened, they were tortured. So again, you need to really research the dolls and pick one that works for you. If you're going to go with voodoo, great. Check out what a real voodoo doll is meant to be and what it really does. Generally, if we were to use them in Fairy Craft Magic, like I say, you make the poppets and you put the stuff inside. You put, your crystals and your herbs and you write down your wish or your intention and you put it in it. And, you use it as a little toy that you can carry with you if you want to, or leave it on the offering table. You can give it as an offering to something or to someone, that kind of thing. They're meant to be for protection, happiness, prosperity, good luck, healing. They can be for love magic. They can be for self-care magic, this kind of thing. They can use them for garden magic, for kitchen magic. You can use them for all of these things. It's not the negative stuff that Hollywood has presented. Okay. And I'll tell you this, when you use a poppet, and if you want to use the pins, you can, and that's not a problem. Just keep in mind, Hollywood has made the negative association. Now, if you are a practitioner and you have that negative association, and you've made the poppet and you've got those pins and you are doing baneful magic and you're sticking those pins in to either harm someone, to stop them from doing something, to banish them, you might be doing revenge. I don't know. I don't promote any of that. But if you're doing any of that, yeah, the practitioner's intention is going to make that doll and those pins its source. And it's, that's then those items become more of a darker side of it. But if you use your poppet, let's say I have a pink poppet and I use that one for healing and self-care. And let's say I've got a migraine coming on and that poppet is mine. It represents me. It's mine. It belongs to me. And I take it out of its cloth, out of the box that I keep it safe in so no one else touches it, plays with it, deals with it. The animals aren't going to, cats aren't going to play with it. Keeps it safe, keeps it clean. I take it out and I'm going to put the pin, and the pin becomes like my wand. And okay, I could feel the migraine coming on. So I've taken the medicine already. I've done the relaxation technique. I've tried to, relieve it physically, medically. Okay. The poppet does not replace the medicine, it adds to it. All right. So then you're going to take the pin, or I would take the pin, and then I would put the pin into the head of the poppet. And I would say the spell or the ritual words or whatever it is that I have that's saying, this pin represents medicine. This pin is taking away my pain. This pin will relieve my issue. Whatever I want to, whatever I've written or whatever I want to say. The idea is the poppet is going to take the pain. So it's going to come from me physically and go into the poppet and get rid of it. Even if it's just a symbolic spiritual thing, it's still going to work. It's still going to help. And so that's when I would use a pin. In Faery Craft Magick, that's when I would use the pins in the poppets, is to, channel something. Let's say my gout, my foot trouble is hitting. Again, take the medicine, start doing the rubbing. I do the soaking and the Epsom salt, everything I have to do medically to get rid of the pain. But then I would use my poppet, my healing poppet. Now, let's say you're doing money one, like the green ones always represent the prosperity and good luck to me. Again, I could, use a pin if I wanted to and help channel energy into that poppet to bring me whatever the funds I needed that day to get me through the day. This kind of thing. Again, set realistic goals when you do your wishes and your requests. Never demand the universe help you. Never make demands. You're always asking, because who likes to be told what to do? Universe is the same way. The fairies are the same way. You insult them, you disrespect them in any way, and they're so easily offended. You are in trouble. So again, be nice, be good, be kind, and you will get that back. It'll come back to you. So, okay. So that covers some of it. Now, again, candle magic is a big one for me. I'll give them a couple more minutes. We'll have a full hour here, and no one's jumped on. I'm sad to see that, but maybe next time we'll get more people to actually stop in. But anyway, so candle magic is another big one for me. I use candles all the time. Like I say, I got my green one lit up here for my good luck. So candle magic is probably my biggest one. And when you're working with candles, be safe, be careful, watch out that your children don't get burned, your animals don't get burned, your house doesn't burn down because something got knocked over, or you forgot, you walked away and left it burning and forgot to check on it. Be safe, okay? Keep everybody safe, watch out, use precautions. Don't have your curtains blowing next to your candles, don't have overhanging vines and flowers and fabrics over it. Be smart, think about it, don't just throw everything on your table and walk away. Really think about placement and where things are. But candles are a big deal for me anyway. Scented, tall, short, votive, water candles. Birthday candles are great. Again, if you can't afford big candles or a lot of candles, buy the little tiny matchstick birthday candles. They work. They come in all sorts of colors and they're really cheap. Even at Walmart or something, they're good prices. And you can get it and it burns quick. So let's say you want to do a quick spell at night, or you have to leave, but you want to do your spell work. They're perfect because they'll burn down really quickly. So you're not stuck watching them all day long, and you can do your spells and go off and do your thing or go to bed. So those are great too. The little tea lights are good as well. They're small, they fit in a container or on a little tray or table. Again, have something safe so you don't burn your tables or your tablecloths. So again, candles represent different things. The sizes sometimes represents different emotions and feel, but definitely the scent, if you use scented ones or add scent to them, if you're making your own, and colors. Color magic is big, especially in fairy craft magic. Colors is very important. So a color of a candle is what generally will attract me, as well as the scent. And so I will go by that rather than the sizes, rather than the shapes. But I mean, they make shapes in the shape of cats, which I have used occasionally for my kitties when I want health or good luck. They've got the figurines where they look like a man and a woman or something. You got the skull candles, you might want to use those. So the shaped ones are cool too, but generally I can't always afford everybody. So I will go buy something inexpensive that's either the color or it has the scent that I want. And so that's generally the two spots I will focus on. I would do more as I'm able, but generally, with my limitations, those are two things I go for. So again, color magic for anything, whether it be candles, whether it be fabrics, whether it be dolls. Um, just real quick, just a couple for you. Red usually represents courage, strength, strong emotions, anger, passion, lust. Um, Yellow is usually for friendship, creativity, sun magic, happiness. It's kind of a power color as well. Orange is said to be a power color. Um, Blue is usually for representing water, tranquility, peace, the sky, divination, sometimes, tranquility for sure. Purple is usually for like royalty and majestic stuff, majesty, tranquility, inspiration, divination. Black is a biggie, of course. Black is for banishing, it's for protection, it's for strength, it's for hiding things, it's for um, it can represent death, but it can represent life. It can represent space. Um, it's kind of the general ones, right? Of course, black too is used a lot for beauty. It's because, I mean, think about how many times you might have gone to a salon or how many times you've gone to a department store and you went into the makeup, in the makeup center or like the makeup stores that's all they focus on. Notice what the employees are wearing. Most of the time, if you really look at it, especially at the fancier places, the fancier stores, they have their employees dressed in black. It might be t-shirt and pants, or it might be something more formal, but they're always in black. Black represents a beauty. It's so you can use it for glamour magic as well. White is a biggie for magic of any kind, witchcraft, whatever, because white encompasses everything. And like I said, if you can't afford all the candles, get at least a white one and a black one. And the white one is for purity, cleansing, um, represents higher powers. It represents divination. It represents air. It represents celestial beings. It represents angels. It represents, um, feeling better. This kind of thing. So again, white is a good one to have. So there's just a few of the basics. So I know I this again we're over an hour, and so all of you, I hope, who will watch this episode, because sadly we didn't get anybody jumping on, but I hope that all of you will enjoy this episode where I've some of this information. Again, I do teach a course. I have an in-person course all about fairy craft magic, how to become one, how to work in the lifestyle. Now, I have two different versions. The one version is an online version that you purchase through my Ko-fi.com page. And I don't have my cards in front of me, but if you watched a previous episode, I usually put it up there. But the link is on the channel here right below the channel name and the description. It's usually in blue, I think. Ko-fi, Ko-fi.com, Fairy Stitch Vlog. Go to that, click on that, and look for the Fairy Craft Magic class. There's two parts that you would need to purchase in order to get the whole course, the whole class. That's the online version, which means it's the shorter version. The more encompassing, more detailed, hands on class that I now teach is a 3-day course. And I teach it here in person in my home studio. And I do offer it twice a month. And it's 3 consecutive days. And the whole idea of the course is to teach you how to get into fairy craft magic as a practitioner. So, the 3 days is about 2 hours or so long each day. And no, you don't stay with me it's not like you're living in the course. You come one day, spend the 2 hours, you go home, you come back, you go home, you come back for the 3 days. So each day is talking about other aspects because there was so much information that I felt I really wanted to encompass and make it more interesting, more to really engulf you into it. And, there's safety things to talk about and all the other. So, anyway, the first day is all about the intro. We talk about everything and much more than what I've covered here, a lot more. And so, like, again, I could say 2 hours of me just lecturing, and you take notes, and you would, just take your notes. And then the next day you come back, and we're going to do um, the next day is the actual hands-on. The first day, actually, you will be doing some hands-on as well. We're going to do spell work. But the second day is all about doing more spell work by learning a craft. So one session, I'm going to teach beginner knitting. The next session, later in the month, I would teach the painting class, the beginner painting class, just as a way to introduce you to something creative and special, and it helps you get the fairies' attention. It's a way to create something. It's a way to get you to meditate. It's a way to use your craft magic. And it's just an intro. If you decide, okay, painting is not going to be for me, well, you could pick up drawing, sketching. You might want to do scrapbooking. You might want to do sewing. You might want to do embroidery, crochet, sculpture. Okay, I'm just teaching you a couple of different, there'd be those couple of different things to get you started, get you inspired. Okay. Then the third day is all about poppets because magical dolls, besides candles, are such a big deal for me. So I thought it would be really great to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours on the last day talking about magical dolls, the differences between them, how to use them, when to use them, and you're going to make your own. You're going to make your first poppet with me on that third day. So again, that is my course, and the course is the price has to be a little higher because I am giving you so much information. And again, excuse me, I've got to provide all the supplies to do all that hands-on stuff. I need some water. So, anyway, so those are the two options to the Fairy Craft Magick course. And I hope that you'll be interested in taking one of them at some point. So again, go to Ko-fi.com if you're interested in the shorter abridged version. Or if you want to get more information about the 3-day in-person course, then again, please contact me. You can leave me a message here below, and I will get back to you with a link or maybe an email or something. Again, I am very present on Facebook.com. So go to Fairy Stitch Vlog, Faerie Stitch Vlog, VLOG. You can go to our page, and I do have information on the classes and the courses there, and you can message me there if you'd rather, and I can get back to you a lot quicker that way as well. And you sign up for the class. And the idea of the class, you sign up ahead of time because you need to reserve your seat. And I need to know supplies. So I have to know how many people are definitely going to be attending. So I need to know ahead of time. But you pay at the class. So that way you don't have to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have, I want to sign up, but I don't have the funds right now. So let me, I need those 3 days or 4 days, so that's fine. You pay at the class. Just pay cash if you can. If you can't, we can use PayPal. But again, we need to work that out. So again, just message me again on our Facebook page, or you can contact me here and I'll send you an email. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, I'm sorry that no one jumped in and joined us, but hopefully on the next one you will. I think the next subject of the live episode, I'm going to talk about dog training. I am a certified dog trainer. I am a certified cat trainer. And I do offer training classes and behavior classes for cats and dogs. The cat class is a lecture class only, and the kitty stays home. It's just for the owners. The dog training classes, obviously, is one dog per client, private classes only, 1 day a week, and it's a one-time class that you can take as many times as you need to. And again, that you need to contact me about. But we have a Facebook page. I will talk about all of that in the next one. So if you're interested in the pet training class or interested in getting some information or asking me something, again, please keep an eye on this channel. I will try to do a little announcement video to let you know what day I'm actually going to do that. This time I didn't do that. So next time, hopefully, you'll see the announcement and hopefully we'll get some viewers. So in the meantime, thank you so much for watching this. I really appreciate it. Hope you really got some information out of this. I hope it inspires you, and I hope to actually meet you for a class real soon, because like I say, they are available twice a month. I do the 3 days, the 3-day course twice a month. So message me. It would be great. Have a very good day, and we hope to hear from you. Hope to see you, and I hope to be able to chat with you again the next time. Thanks so much.